Welcome. I am Day. DAA are my initials. I am CEO and founder of DHB Recovery Network. DHB stands for Devotion, Health, and Beauty Recovery Network. This is Grief Weekly for the week of March 4th through March 10th. We all experience loss on so many levels. Over the past few years, I have personally experienced the loss of beloved family members. Some of these family members were elderly or ill, and some were children under 18. Grief sits within. Let's walk together as we grieve one day at a time on this weekly podcast that will be posted each Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Fair use. Grief one day at a time. 365 meditations to help you heal after loss by Alan D. Wolfett, PhD. March 4th. Her grief was so big and wild it terrified her, like an evil beast that had erupted from under the floorboards. J.K. Rowling. Sometimes our own grief scares us. It can be violent, racking, and loud. It can scream, wail, and keen. It can be erotic and out of control. Even among those of us who are normally quiet, buttoned up people, our grief can now and then explode. Let's think of it this way. Our grief is as big and powerful as our love was. When someone who made our life worth living is taken away from us, of course our grief goes crazy with rage and fear and despair. It's like a dragon guarding its treasure. Oh, the wrath when the treasure is stolen. The next time our grief terrifies us, we can remember our dragons. Something precious has been stolen from them. They've been awoken. It's only normal and natural for them to roar in protest. The meditation reads, "My grief is big and wild. When it needs to erupt, it's okay to let it erupt." March 5th. A friend who can be silent with us in a moment of confusion or despair, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not healing, not curing. This is a friend indeed. Henry Nouwen. On our journey through grief, we need companions who can walk alongside us, who can listen to us talk without feeling the need to give us solutions, who can be present to our pain without trying to distract us or immediately soothe it away, who can bear witness to the truth of our mourning. We all know people who are not good friends in grief. Some are not able to sit with us in our pain. They neither help nor hinder us. Others, with their judging or their toxic attitudes, can be downright harmful to us. We will instead seek out the compassionate helpers who can stay with us in our hour of grief and hold our hand. The meditation reads, "If I give it thought, I can identify at least one person who could be a good friend to me in grief. I will reach out to that person and accept her companionship. March 6th. The thought of suicide is a great consolation. By means of it, one gets through many a dark night. Frederick Nietzsche. Sometimes the pain of our grief is so overwhelming that we wish it could just all be over. We wouldn't mind, we think, if we just didn't wake up tomorrow. Such passive and passing suicidal thoughts in grief are natural. They can be a consolation. What's not natural is actively wanting to or making plans to take your own life. If you have been thinking about taking your own life, please, please talk to a professional helper right away. Sometimes the tunnel vision of grief can prevent you from seeing choices. You can and will start to feel better, and seeing a counselor or calling a crisis hotline is a step toward healing. The meditation reads, if my thoughts of suicide take on planning and structure, that means it's time for me to get help. March 7. If you aren't sure who you are, you might as well work on who you want to be. Robert Brault. One of the most challenging needs we have in grief is that of creating a new self-identity. We're different now. We might have gone from being a spouse to a widow or widower, for example, or a child to an orphan. Other changes we are undergoing don't have simple labels. We feel shaken to the core, and every rope that tethered us to our sense of how the world works has been cut, or at least frayed. As we work to re-anchor ourselves, we may discover some positive aspects of our changing self-identities. We may be more confident than we were before, for example, or more compassionate. We can also take advantage of this forced reconstruction time by working on who we most want to be from here on out. The meditation reads, I'm not sure who I am anymore. It will take time and hard work to figure it out. March 8. There are times we must sink to the bottom of our misery to understand truth, just as we must descend to the bottom of a well to see the stars in broad daylight. Vaclav Havel. We're sinking, we're descending. We feel as if our grief is pulling us under, down, down, down. It's not easy to sink. We might fight it. We might flail about, resisting the need to acknowledge the reality of what happened and descend into the pain. But if we learn to surrender and relax into our misery, the journey gets a bit easier. We are less fatigued and more at peace, and we begin to understand the truth that we must descend before we can transcend. Down we go. The bonus? At the bottom, we will discover that we can better see the stars. The meditation reads, I am sinking. I can relax and allow myself to sink, trusting I will touch bottom and rise again. March 9. Cynicism masquerades as wisdom, but it is the furthest thing from it, because cynics don't learn anything, because cynicism is self-imposed blindness, a rejection of the world because we are afraid it will hurt us or disappoint us. Cynics always say no, but saying yes begins things. Saying yes is how things grow. Stephen Colbert. We grievers have earned a little cynicism. After all, life has hurt us. We engaged with life, and in the end, it dealt us a mean blow. We probably going to say no for a while. We're going to crawl into our shells and regroup. We won't re-engage quickly or easily. But soon, there will come a time when we need to start saying yes again. Yes to our friends and family. Yes to new experiences. Yes to love and life. Yes, begin things. Yes is how things grow. Living a life of no is no life at all. The meditation reads, as soon as I'm ready, I will start looking for opportunities to say yes. March 10. God, why do I storm heaven for answers that are already in my heart? Every grace I need has already been given me. Oh, lead me to the beyond within. Markrina Werdeker. One of the most surprising things about grief is that it is really a process of getting to know ourselves. We were blithely living our lives, not giving much thought to what we were doing and why, when death pulled back the curtain. Suddenly, we're asking the big questions that we didn't pay attention to before. And we're finding that the answers, to the extent there are answers, lie within us. God built us to love, which means God also built us to grieve. He entrusted us with the big questions and the search for answers. Every grace we need has already been given us. We just need to look within. The meditation reads, every grace I need has already been given me. Oh, lead me to the beyond within. Grief, one day at a time. 365 Meditations to Help You Heal After Loss by Alan D. Wolfett, PhD. Read by me, Day, of DHB Recovery Network. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be. And remember that you are not alone, one day at a time.